Hello, my name is Sarah Schnetka and my teaching project is titled Identifying Keywords and Main Ideas. The hypothetical scenario for this lesson is a group of Year 2 students. The teacher is a teacher librarian who is also the ICT teacher. This is an introductory lesson in a unit of work which will be taught over 8 lessons in a Year 2 classroom, which has a one-to-one iPad program. In this introductory lesson, students will explore strategies to identify keywords to gain literal meaning from a range of texts. The formative assessment for this lesson is a short paragraph which students will add to a shared Google Doc which outlines the main ideas of a chosen video. Shared Google Docs just provide the educator with feedback on student progress to inform teaching throughout this lesson and subsequent lessons, and also enables the educator to track achievement of learning objectives. Now, the learning objectives for this lesson have been developed based on Australian curriculum content descriptors, as well as the American Association of School Librarians standards. You can see explicit descriptors and standards in the support materials that I've provided. I just wanted to highlight briefly the learning objectives that I have addressed for this lesson. First of all, I'd like students to identify and analyse information from a variety of texts, building literal meaning. To do this, students will be using sentences, online text, as well as video. The second learning objective is I would like students to use strategies to draw conclusions from information presented in a range of formats. Students will be highlighting key words, rewriting main ideas into their own words, as well as sharing ideas with their peers. And the final learning objective for this lesson is for students to use information tools to organise and display their knowledge. They'll be using collaborative Google Docs as well as the Diigo browser for its highlighter functionality. In terms of assessment for this lesson, the teacher will be doing simple student observations as well as taking work samples using student work on Google Docs. Now, there are a few considerations that I just wanted to highlight before I begin the lesson. First of all, as these students attend a school with a strong e-learning culture, they possess a solid foundation of basic IT skills, including the use of shared Google Docs, QR codes, the Diigo browser, as well as basic device navigation. Also, this lesson is designed to promote active participation from the learners to optimise their learning. The use of iPads and Apple TV promotes engagement, and shared Google Docs allow for immediate peer and educator feedback for student responses. The use of QR codes allows students to access texts really quickly, and the educator will use the AirPlay function of their device to present slides to students on the screen using the Apple TV. Also, the text content here I feel is irrelevant. The purpose of this lesson is to teach students how to identify keywords and gain meaning, not necessarily to learn about octopuses. I feel that motivation and self-direction is optimised when students have choice over the research topic and if it's an area of interest for them. Also, this lesson uses the modelled, guided and independent teaching and learning cycle. This cycle supports students as they move from dependent to independent learners by changing the degree of teacher control. And finally, some learners will require support as this lesson progresses, and these learners will be identified through teacher observations and student responses during the lesson. The teacher will lead guru sessions, which is something else that these students are familiar with, and this just allows the teacher to target learning to the individual needs of support students in small groups. Now, I will now begin the actual lesson. Now, to understand a chunk of information, first we must be able to understand what a simple sentence is telling us. So please have a look at the sentence on the screen. It says, "The little girl loved to build sandcastles on the beach." Who can tell me what this sentence is about? A little girl. Very good. What about a little girl? She likes building sandcastles. Terrific. Let's look at which words tell us this information. Little girl and sandcastles. These words give us the most important information. I'd now like us to move on to something a little trickier using more than just one sentence. I'd like you all to scan this QR code and that will take you to a website that will tell us all about octopuses. Now you can choose to read the text on your own iPad, but I'll also AirPlay the text to the screen if you'd rather look at it there. I want you to think about what is the most important information. I want you to think about which words give you the most information. So please read the passage and look here at my TV screen when you've finished. I'll also read it along with you. The octopus can only be found in salt water, but they live in all the oceans. The octopuses that live in warm waters tend to be small. The ones that live in cold waters are much larger. Now, in the first sentence, the octopus can only be found in salt water, but they live in all the oceans. The key words are salt water, all oceans. Now in the next sentence, the octopuses that live in warm waters tend to be small. The key words are warm, small. In the final sentence, the ones that live in cold waters are much larger. I would highlight cold, larger. I'll now switch off the TV screen and I'd also like you to switch off your iPads. Please tell me something that you've just learned about octopuses. Big octopuses live in cold water and small ones live in hot water? Good answer. Who else can tell me something they've just learned? Octopuses live in the ocean and they like salt water? Very good. You may now switch your iPads back on. Please look at the bullet point about halfway down the web page. It begins with, the body of the octopus can also squeeze through very small cracks. Now I'd like you to do some highlighting. Remember, you highlight words by holding your finger on the word and then selecting highlight. Highlight what you think are the key words in this paragraph. Remember that I want you to think about which words give the most important information. Sometimes you might come across tricky or unfamiliar words, but you can still try to understand what's being said by reading the entire paragraph and looking for clues. Off you go now. Highlight the key words. Okay, now let's talk about the words you've highlighted. I will highlight the words on the screen that you tell me to. Let's look at the first sentence. The body of the octopus can also squeeze through very small cracks, which help them to escape a situation that is threatening. So you want me to highlight body, squeeze, small cracks, and escape. Okay, these definitely give the most information. I agree with these keywords. Let's look at the next sentence now. If the octopus is caught, it can give up an arm to the predator and grow it back. Which words did you all highlight? Caught, give, arm, and grow back. I would now have the class discuss these student responses and talk about why certain words should or shouldn't be highlighted. I'd ask questions like, is this really an important word? Does it give the most information? And so on. In a moment, I'd like you to go to your Google Drive and find our shared Google Doc called Octopuses by 2A. Write a sentence to share something you've just learned about octopuses using your own words. Please write your name next to your sentence so that we all know whose work belongs to whom. I'll airplay our Google Doc onto the TV screen so that we can all talk about everyone's ideas. Let's take a look at some of the things you've learnt so far. I really like the way you all wrote your ideas in your own words instead of just copying and pasting from the text. Thank you for your hard work, everyone. It looks as though many of you found some really useful main ideas when you were reading. Let's go back to our iPads to look at a new bullet point. The octopus has excellent eyesight, but they are deaf. The octopus has 3 hearts. The blood of an octopus is light blue. Now I'm going to give you the chance to have a go on your own. I want you to look at this bullet point and highlight the key words. When you've finished highlighting the key words, please write a new sentence on our Google Doc telling us the main ideas. Don't forget to write your name at the end of your sentence so that we all know who wrote it. I'll hold a short guru session in the back corner of the room if you'd like some help as you do this part on your own. Please join me if you feel that you need to. Okay, our next step is to get the main idea from a video. You've all done a really great job at getting the main idea from small pieces of text. Now we're going to do it using a video. I'm going to let you choose a video to watch. You can select from how does a roller coaster work, how is Lego made, all about dolphins and planets of the solar system. I'd like you to write down any keywords that you hear in your exercise books. It's going to be a little bit trickier because you need to listen very carefully. However, you can always skip back as you watch the video if you need to. Remember, I want you to think about which words give you the most important information. Then you will go into your Google Drive and choose the Google Doc for the video that you've just watched. Write 2 or 3 sentences this time to share what you've just learned by watching the video. I'll hold another guru session in the back corner of the room for anyone who needs a little more help. We'll be watching the video about how Lego is made. Please join us if you feel that you need to. If you finish quickly, here's a challenge activity for you to do. You can write a question that you now have about the video that you've watched. Team up with somebody else who's watched the same video as you and see if you can find the answers to your questions together. This is just for those people who finished the first task. Now I'll leave this task description on the TV screen to remind you all of what you need to do. Remember to join our guru session at any time if you need a bit of extra help. Now that is the end of my lesson.